What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 59 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, say hello to the YouTubers.
Hello, YouTubers.
Matt, say hello. Give that pretty smile.
Hi.
There you go. All right, Christian yet again has places to be because he's the most popular man in America. So we are going to get this thing rolling right along. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 59 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just dandy, Dave. PayPal took over my company for the first time. I was an employee officially as of today, and they gave us some really sweet gear. We got a PayPal backpack, which is really nice, and they got us all North Faces that look really expensive and are nice and warm.
Wow, swag out the wazoo.
Yeah,
That's
it just
always
helps.
fun.
Yeah, helps fight the ice storm that's out there today.
Yeah, stay warm. Matt, how are you doing today? Oh, man.
Sorry,
Oh,
you just
man.
cut out real quick. Did you just say something?
Matt, yes, I did. Matt, how are you doing today?
Asking, it's my first day of classes for my last spring semester of college, so I'm excited.
Silly week. Be careful.
Yeah.
All right, have fun, but be careful.
Wow, it's really funny because today I was thinking, how did it take him that long to drive home from 2 blocks? I thought he was at home still. I forgot he went back to school. Now it makes sense why it took him that long to get back from 2 blocks away. He was walking.
Yes, Christian's.
There we go.
Yeah, Christian's referring to a text conversation we had for the listeners who may not know what the heck he's talking about. All right, Christian, actually. Christian. Guys, thank you for asking how I'm doing. I'm doing fantastic. Enjoying the California weather out here. It's in the 50s, but it's a little rainy, so I've been kind of cooped up. But I love being cooped up, so I'm doing well.
When's the last time you weren't cooped up?
I don't know, actually. Kristen, I didn't go outside at all last week, and Kristen. It doesn't bother me. And Kristen's she thinks I'm insane. Kristen's my wife, and she thinks I'm crazy, but I love it.
Well,
when I
she's
broke
not
my
wrong.
leg, when I broke my leg a couple years ago, I didn't go outside for 11 days. It was a great 11 days. Christian, do you have a trivia question for this week?
I do. Do you guys know, since 1998, only one player in the Premier League has scored a hat trick with his head? Do you know who it was?
I have a guess, but okay. We will think on it, listeners. You can think on it as well, and we will give our guesses at the end here. Before we get into our topics this week, I wanted to give a couple quick plugs. So I'm the founder of Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website. If you're a soccer fan, you should go check that out. We have you select 5 clubs instead of 8 to 11 individual players for your weekly fantasy lineups. Simplify scoring and just make the game much easier. Fantasy soccer, typical fantasy soccer can be a bit complicated, can be overwhelming. We simplify it, make it a lot easier. Also, for anybody listening to this podcast, we do a live recording on YouTube, usually on Sunday nights, Monday nights, or Tuesday nights, Eastern Standard Time. You can watch it live. So tune in to that, and you can see our pretty faces as we record this and ask questions and whatnot. Finally, I just wanted to give one last plug. I just started another YouTube channel. It's called The Soccer Tavern. We make videos about kind of all different kinds of things. So we're discussing the history, culture, and philosophy of soccer world. And our first video was about the origins of soccer and kind of the background behind the sport. And so you should definitely go check that out. You can subscribe to that channel so you stay updated. So with that, those are all my little plugs here. And let's get to the meat of this podcast. So first off, getting right off the bat, starting with Felipe Coutinho joined FC Barcelona. Yep, that's what he did, from Liverpool for a staggering amount, I think $192 million. Christian, what do you make of this transfer? You support both clubs, so what do you make of Coutinho leaving?
No, it breaks my heart to see him leave Liverpool, but if he's going to leave, I guess I'm okay with him going there. Same with Suarez. He had to do this to win trophies. Unfortunately, as a Liverpool fan first, it hurts me to have to admit that, but Liverpool look like they're on the up. They're really going places now, but he wants trophies now, and he's joining what I consider to be the best team in the world and has the best couple of players in the world in their positions. So it's going to be interesting to see how he improves that team and what position he really slots into immediately. Does he go on the left wing, or does he go into that Iniesta role, or does he go into Rakitic's role? Iniesta drops into there, and Coutinho plays more of that Iniesta role with Iniesta. It would be interesting to see how Barcelona kind of integrate him into their lineup, and he has that quality. He really does, as we've seen for years now. He's only 25, and he's only going to get better, and it's going to be frightening to see what he adds to that Barcelona attack.
Yeah, and I don't fault him for making the move either. Barcelona is, I think, Barcelona and Real Madrid, you always hear about the South American talent. They grow up supporting those teams, and those are kind of the dream clubs to play for. And so as much history as Liverpool has, I don't think it really compares to Barcelona and Real Madrid, especially for people from South America. Matt, what was your take on Coutinho going to Barca?
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible amount. I think he's an incredible player. I was excited to see how he fits in at Barcelona and what formations they're going to play. Like, are they going to rotate who plays which position, like throughout the game even? Like, just keep switching the four forwards. I could easily see Messi dropping into beneath the striker in the midfield and just distributing, because the rest of these guys are electric, pace and stuff. So, and just skill on the ball. So I could see any of them really playing any of those positions in the wing or the midfield underneath the striker, top. So, I mean, it's unfortunate for Liverpool, especially because they're on the up, but it's good for Barcelona.
Agreed. Go ahead, Christian.
I was just going to say, I think it's really interesting that, well, first of all, it's sad to see that the Fab Four of Liverpool broke up, and they're already calling them the Fantastic Four at Barcelona.
Who was the Fab Four at Liverpool? I've never heard that. Who was the Fab Four at Liverpool?
Oh, it's after the Beatles. They renamed it because they're from Liverpool, but they did Salah, Firmino, Coutinho, and Mane were the Fab Four.
For 4 months, 5 months, they already got a nickname?
Yeah, and they were fabulous. Fabulous.
Okay. But they already have a nickname?
Yeah, the Fantastic Four, which obviously is named after the Marvel superheroes.
Yes. Okay.
But just in case you guys wanted to know. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think with Suarez, he's clearly going to be the focal point of the attack. But the other players around him, I expect Coutinho to be on the left and Dembele to go to the right and Messi to play in behind Suarez as more of his number 10, which is what he wears, that role, and have the freedom to move wherever he wants, which he already has, but it'll be a little more structured with him being in the middle already.
Agreed. And then, so looking at this from a Liverpool perspective, I think this is the right move for Liverpool. As tough as it is to see a talented player leave your club, the amount of money that they're getting for him, the fact that the article we'll link to in the show notes actually painted a different picture and of just Coutinho's demeanor and all of that. And it may be, political stuff that Liverpool may be leaking to try to justify them selling him. So I don't want to get too much into this, but from reports, I mean, it seems like he didn't want to be at Liverpool anymore. And if you can get $190 million for a player who doesn't even want to be on your team anymore, you have to take that. And they bought him for what, $10 million, something like that. And to flip that for $190 million, I think is just fantastic business. So yes, they have to replace him, but I still think this was the right move for them. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
So do you think, just asking you guys, do you think Liverpool's going to spend more money this transfer window? You think they're going to wait till the summer? Or who do you think could replace him even?
Christian, you want to give your thoughts?
Well, I think Naby Keita is clearly going to come in and replace him. He's more of a box-to-box, maybe not as creative as Coutinho, but he's a player who can easily slot into that midfield. I think that Adam Lallana will be the one who slots into that Coutinho role once he gets fully fit. He was out for multiple months now, and it's been a little sad to see. Dave, are you distracted a little bit over there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I live in an apartment building. So YouTubers, I apologize. I live in an apartment building, and nobody ever knocks, or I don't know what the hell is going on either right outside my door. Oh, you know what it is? So this is a quick aside. It's obviously end of Christmas season, and Christmas trees are due to be taken out of the building. I think that's what the heck was going on in the hallway, because there's all kinds of noise and sound like somebody was knocking. I think it's somebody dragging a tree out. Sorry, Christian. I apologize for being distracted. Continue your thought.
That was a fun little quick aside, Dave, as you just referred to that too. I don't know why you called it that, but I guess
quick aside.
Is that a thing? Is that something people say?
Yeah, quick aside. Yeah,
No, that's
it's
not a thing. Anybody
that is
says.
absolutely a thing.
That has never been a thing.
Matt, you want to weigh in here?
I think it's just a podcast thing.
All right, Christian. All right, let's get back on topic here. Christian, you were saying about Coutinho's replacement.
Okay, I think Adam Lallana is going to be the creative force that slots in there. But even if he's not, I think they are going to spend money. I really do. I think that they're going to try and bring in a striker, and Firmino can drop into that role. And I know he's kind of accustomed to playing that false nine now, but his original position he was brought into play was the number 10. And it would be interesting to see how he can play in that role that Coutinho is leaving. He's another Brazilian with incredible skill and ability to create goals and even grab them himself.
Agreed. And so for me, I personally would like to see them wait to spend the money until the summertime. I think a lot of times when you get an influx of cash, there's a tendency to spend that quickly, and other teams know that and other clubs know that and tend to jack up prices. So I would like to see them wait, kind of slow play it, and get the players that they actually want. You know, I'm an American soccer fan, and I think for Christian Pulisic's long-term development, it wouldn't be good for him to move to Liverpool at this time. But, you know, Klopp is the manager who brought Pulisic to Dortmund, and there's all kinds of rumors saying, you know, with Liverpool's American owners that they're going to go after Pulisic this summer. So, you know, we'll see if that happens, and it tears at my heart because I'm a Liverpool fan, but and I'm an American fan, but I think it wouldn't be good for Pulisic to come, but I could be excited about that.
Why would you not want that?
I just don't think it's good for 19-year-olds to join the Premier League. And especially his body frame. I think he's rather
like Hazard.
He's rather slight. Hazard is not the same body frame as Pulisic. Hazard's pretty thick, especially on his lower half. Pulisic's like 140 pounds. I'm serious.
So is like Mo Salah. Mo Salah's small. Sane's small. Sterling's
all the
small.
Players that you're naming are how many are thicker than Pulisic? They're built differently. they're tinier, but they're stockier and they have a bigger build. He's very slight of frame. That's not to say that he can't be successful. He's actually very similar to Coutinho, but in his build. And Coutinho was very successful, but Coutinho came a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I mean, Coutinho came when he was a little bit older, and I just worry about the way Christian plays and his game. I just worry about him getting knocked around in the Premier League, and so I would like to see him develop a little bit more before coming to the Premier League.
Isn't he going to be 20 this year?
Yes.
Coutinho came in when he was 20, so no.
Okay, I could be wrong, but
I don't agree. I think he is very similar to Sterling in his build. I don't think Sterling's any bigger than him.
Okay.
And that's one of the names Matt says. And he's like Mane. Mane's a stick.
Sane or Mane? Okay.
But Mane, I said, but.
I think Pulisic is smaller and slighter. But all right, let's not get bogged down on this. We got to keep this thing rolling along. So let's move over to let's stay in La Liga from a Barca perspective and start talking about Diego Costa, who came back to Atletico Madrid this past. He came in the summertime, but because of Atletico's transfer ban, he couldn't start playing until this week. And so in his debut, he came on in the 63rd minute. And got a yellow card almost immediately, and followed that up by scoring a goal and then getting a second yellow card to be sent off in the 69th minute. So he was on for less than 10 minutes in his La Liga re-debut. Matt, what did you make of Costa's re-debut, and did he even deserve the second yellow?
Yeah, I did not see the first yellow. That's what my first point was going to be. I didn't see like the first one where he did, so I don't know if he deserved that one or not. But the second one, like. I didn't think he just stood by the crowd and the crowd kind of came towards him. It didn't look like he went into the crowd, and that's what he was cautioned for his second yellow. Then got a bit much for what players do and like the celebrations. I didn't think that was bad at all. I mean, he had a nice he was in the right spot, good goal, but off was a bit harsh.
Agreed. Christian, what were your thoughts on Costa's re-debut and the sending off?
Well, I think he's one of the worst people in all of sports, so I'm going to start by saying that. But honestly, I don't think that he deserved to get sent off for what he did. He was celebrating with the fans, and technically that is a yellow. And Simeone in the post-match interview said, "Yeah, that is a yellow," and he deserved to be sent off. So it's interesting to hear his own coach say that. But you get caught up in the emotions of the game, and especially in moments like that where you're making a debut for a team you are coming back to, who you loved and who you really gave everything for and won a title with against all odds at the Camp Nou on the final day. Like, he is a huge part of their history, and he came back to this club, and you get caught up. You want to be part of the fans. And although I do not like the guy, and I will make that known every time he's mentioned in this podcast, I don't think that he deserved to be sent off this time.
Agreed. So I don't really have much more to add. I thought it was incredibly harsh for him to be sent off, especially. I just didn't think it deserved a yellow. He didn't go into the crowd. He ran up to around the crowd to celebrate with the fans. And, he's passionate about it. He hasn't played in 5 or 6 months. And so it's perfectly understandable. Yes, he had a Copa del Rey match right before this, but beyond that, he hasn't played in forever. And so I think he was well right to go celebrate with the fans. And I think the yellow card was a bit much. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Christian, you wanna talk smack on him a little bit more? All right. Let's go back to England and this time talk about Ross Barkley, who moved to Chelsea in this transfer window for 15 million, I think it was pounds. And in the summertime, he had a rumored 30 or 35 million pound move to Chelsea that fell apart on the last day of the transfer.
50. It was way up there.
I don't think so. So from a pound perspective, it may have been dollars were in the 50s, but maybe. I think it was in the 30s from a pound perspective. Either way, the transfer fell apart in the summertime for some reason, and now it's back on at a $15, $20 million discount. Christian, what do you make of him moving to Chelsea, and what do you make of the whole sort of weird sort of transfer being delayed and discount and all of that?
Yeah, Ross who? Do we know who this guy is anymore? I think that this transfer fee is probably right because he has become so irrelevant. I know he's been injured this season, so he hasn't made any appearances. But come on, I saw articles saying oh, Chelsea just got their new Lampard. Are you effing kidding me? Are you fucking serious? No, they did not. He's not that talented. He had a good first year or two at Everton. Since then, he has become so irrelevant that only Chelsea was after him. Everyone else backed off because they realized, he's an average English midfielder. Pretty much sums up English's production line in midfield since Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes.
Englishes?
Yeah, all those Englishes.
All those Englishes.
I just think that the players like Wilshere and him, they're so injury prone and they never live up to their potential. And 15 million probably is right. They could get a lot out of him, but I just don't.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. And so in fairness, just a couple quick clarifying points. So he has been injured this year. And on top of it, he has been, his contract's winding down. So the reason the fee kind of decreased has something to do with his contract winding down in the summertime. So Everton sold him at the risk of losing him for nothing. Matt, what was your take on Barkley moving to Chelsea and the fees kind of situation?
Yeah, I know he hasn't been what he has been hyped up to be the last 2 years maybe, but a couple of years ago he was still lighting up the Premier League at times. He's scoring incredible goals, providing incredible assists. He can be an explosive player. And what is he, just 23?
24 now.
24 now. 15 million for the prices people are going for. That's not too bad, especially Chelsea's attacking midfield depth. They don't really have an attacking midfield depth at all. I mean, they have Fabregas, really, he's kind of holding, counting him, but he's more of a winger.
Yeah,
I think he's the key don't have that I think could do to them, and I think it's gonna be different going from Everton to playing with Willian and Hazard and Morata and Conte behind you. I think it's just better for him, and he'll produce more.
Yeah, and so I think that he's not stepping into a starting role, especially not this year. So he's going to be eased into the squad and likely be a sub role and maybe have the chance this summer to to go after it and go after a starting spot. And Matt, you brought up an interesting point that English players, the discount that they're getting here is incredible because there's rules in England that require squads to have a certain amount of players that were developed in England. That's why a lot of times when you see transfer fees paid for English players, they're very inflated in the Premier League. And so to get a homegrown, that's what they're called, English player who is talented, even if he is Christian, standard English midfielder who's not going to light things up, I still think it's a good bit of business from Chelsea, and especially get that giant discount. So I think it's a good move by Chelsea. I don't know if it's the right move for Barkley's career. I know he wants to take the step up from Everton, and this seemed like the only squad that was going to allow him to do that. So, I understand it from his perspective, but I don't know if he's going to get any more minutes there. So, Christian, anything else you want to add?
I just think that they needed something different. I think they needed to go for someone more of a Matic role than a Barkley role because they haven't clearly not replaced Matic. But Barkley is not going to be able to do that. And he's more of a long-term, I don't even know what to call him, squad player than a world star.
But you need that. And 15 million in this market for a squad player, I think is still a good deal.
For a guy who's going to maybe play 15 minutes a game, we'll see.
All right, wow. Okay, I think he gets more time than that and gets, he'll get 18. Some spot starts.
Maybe 18
Okay, there you go. All right, with that brings us to the end of our first segment. Unless, Matt, you have something else you want to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. As the end of our first segment, you're going to hear a little bit of music, and we will be back with our second segment. Talk to you soon.
We're well.
I can't speak. Luke on here. What's SMG? I don't know what that is. You know what that is? When's SMG? Yeah, he's on the group chat saying when's the SMG league recap.
SMG is the indoor league that I play with them on Tuesdays.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. Looks like we have someone else talking about the Christmas tree. Yes, the Christmas tree situation. All right, let's.
Who's this?
You guys ready to? They don't have a. I don't see a name. They just have like a
Anonymous,
couple eyes. Yeah.
Anonymous. Yeah. Okay.
I think their avatar's a Barbie though. All right.
It's just a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world, Dave.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Second segment.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's go.
Welcome back, listeners, to our second segment, jumping into things here and starting with Liverpool yet again, but this time talking about Emre Can, who reportedly signed a pre-contract with Juve. I know we've kind of touched on this in the past and talked about Can. Matt, what do you make of, I don't know if this is officially confirmed or not, but let's just say, let's just assume that it is. What do you think about Can, joining Juve?
I think it's a very typical move for Juventus, getting played for free. He's a good role player. He's a good box-to-box midfielder. Like, it seems like almost all their midfielders, they get very cheap, and great defenders, they get very cheap and end up being very important for their team. And it's not saying like he's not going to be very good. Like, everyone knows their role at Juve, and I think Can's going to fit in extremely well there. And I think, I mean, Liverpool, it's going to be hard for Can. I feel like he's going to get the same minutes at Juve as Liverpool. And I think Juve, or maybe they're going to win more because they're in Italy. So I think it might be a different role for him. Just a different, position to be in.
I haven't watched too much Juve this year, but I just assume he's going to slot right into the Khedira role. If Khedira is still starting and playing for them, if not, he's going to play that role that Khedira used to play. That would be my assumption. But Christian, what's your take on Can, leaving Liverpool and possibly going to Juve?
It's funny that you said that because that was exactly the point I was going to make. That
I'm sorry.
He's going to take Khedira's role pretty much immediately. I don't think that Can is. What?
I think Khedira is really good, though. I don't see Can like just being better than him right now.
I think Can is better than him right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Khedira is what, 31, 32 at this point?
Can is 30 or 24 maybe right now. Yeah, Can is going to step in there. He's probably going to be more of a German international too and take over his role for Germany. I don't think I've seen Khedira play for Germany in a while, actually. Has he played?
They haven't played their first team in forever.
That's a good
point.
They
just had qualifiers.
They've been qualified for a while though.
Yeah.
They still were playing some of their stars, but I don't think Khedira is a better player than Chan, and I think this is a good move for Chan's career right now. I am upset more by this one than I am the Coutinho one. We're losing him for free, and he is a player who really could have made an impact if we had a holding mid. I think that he's more of a box to box as well. Him and Keita could have really run the midfield because they are engines and very talented players. It sucks to lose him, and he never really seemed like he loved the club. I'm going to be honest. From day one, I never really got that feeling from him. So I always saw him leaving. I just didn't think it would be to Juve. I saw him going back to Bayern. It did not happen, but in Italy, he's going to make a big impact. I think that at the end of I don't know, at the end of his career, will he look back and say maybe this was the wrong move? I don't know where Juve are really going. I haven't paid attention to them much. They don't seem as dominant in Italy as they were a couple of years ago. So I don't know if he's really going to be forced in there, and he's going to be more title races. But the way Liverpool are going, if he stayed, he might be in the title race here, and it's tough to see because I don't think this is the same step like it is to Barcelona for Coutinho. I think it's almost maybe a slight step up, but it's not much of a difference.
Yeah, especially just the direction Liverpool's headed in. And,
yeah.
I think that, I would have much rather seen them move on from Jordan Henderson than to see him move on from Chan. But this is just a situation. I think Wijnaldum still fits in. Yeah, I think Wijnaldum still fits in kind of Chan's role fairly well. They're slightly different players, and I think I like Chan's game. I think he's a little bit more polished than Wijnaldum, but basically Wijnaldum will flip into the Chan role alongside Keita is my assumption, and hopefully they bring in that defensive midfielder that we keep.
Yeah, I think it'll be Keita going into that role, and Milano is going to play in Coutinho's role. That's just what I see happening, unless they bring in a striker, in which case Firmino would drop deeper.
All right, fair enough. Matt, anything else you want to add?
So, do you think Liverpool is this going to hurt their, Champions League qualification, through the end? Do you think players leaving and maybe not bringing in people right now? Do you think Liverpool is not going for Champions League right now, or?
So do you mean in the Champions League that they're in right now, or for next year?
No, for next year to qualify top four, because I feel like.
No, I don't think this changes anything. It's still a World Cup year. He's really got to prove himself this year still.
And he's on Liverpool through the end of the season. Yeah. And like I said, I think Lallana coming back from injury will be helpful to losing Coutinho. And I think they still have talented players. Now, if they have, they're putting a lot of eggs in some baskets and banking on no injuries. If Salah and or Mane go down, I think that they've lost kind of their depth by getting rid of Coutinho. And so that could be an issue. But I don't think this is a signal of intent that they're not going for top four.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, but they got Ben Woodburn to come in, so we'll be fine.
There you go. All right, let's talk a little FA Cup now. And so this past weekend, Fleetwood played Leicester City, and Fleetwood is sponsored by Papa John's, as I'm sure we all knew that. And so Papa John's promised the Fleetwood goalkeeper a year's supply of Papa John's pizza if he kept a clean sheet in the match. He, of course, obliged and now has a full year's supply of Papa John's pizza. Matt, what do you make of this guy getting a year's supply of Papa John's pizza?
It's incredible, yeah. I mean, I'm glad they honored it, but I mean, yeah, it's just good to see it's got good marketing for Papa John's, and this guy's got a year's worth of pizza. It's a win-win situation.
But is pizza really the best thing for players to be eaten?
He's a goalie for Fleetwood. He'll be all right.
Christian, what do you make of this whole story?
I think my favorite part was when in the interview they were like, "Oh, what are you going to do with a year's supply of pizza?" And he goes, "Eat it." And then after he's like, "Well, not really. My coach is going to really limit how much I can eat. So I don't know how much they're going to be able to eat, but it's really nice that they were giving me this." So it's just a funny thing that Papa John's decided to do. Sidebar, how funny is it that Papa John was removed from the company by his board?
All right. I don't know. Let's not get into
that. That's funny.
It's a aside, not sidebar. It's a side.
Yeah, it's a quick aside.
Let's go to a side. Quick aside.
Yeah, it's a quick aside.
I think that it's just a really unique thing, and that whole game is kind of like a Cinderella story because that's Jamie Vardy's team that he came from when he joined Leicester. So it was really cool to see. I was watching that game. It was really, really interesting to see just that whole thing, just the
Yeah,
whole spectacle of it all.
Fleetwood almost won too,
Yeah, they
which was
did.
interesting. My favorite thing about it is the picture that the goalkeeper took with the stack of pizzas right next to him. So yeah, overall, just a ridiculous story that, I love lower division soccer in England because you get like last year with the FA Cup,
The guy eating the pie.
Yeah, you had the guy eating the pie. Everything seems to be pie related. But yeah, so
this is a pizza pie.
Yeah, pizza pie. You got the joke. Yeah, you get it.
Hey.
Matt, anything else you want to add here?
Nah.
All right, let's talk about last topic in our second segment here. In the Irish Cup this past weekend, I think it was Irish Cup. The manager for we have the video. I don't have the details of exactly which clubs were playing, but we'll tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, and they'll be in the show notes as well. But an Irish manager subbed himself on into the match, so I guess he was a former player or whatnot. And he proceeded to get booked twice within 3 minutes and sent off, and then his team lost. I think they were either in the lead or drawing at the time he brought himself on. Christian, what do you think about this manager's behavior and setting an example for his players?
What the hell? That is the weirdest thing. That was like when Giggs was the manager of United, and he brought himself on. Like, that was weird. It's weird. Do you not remember this?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was still a player manager when he came in that final season.
Huh.
It's a weird scenario. What?
Wasn't he like Van Hall was like suspended or something, and then he just subbed himself on? Wasn't he like assistant player manager or something?
Well, I mean, that was the same year. No, it was the year with Moyes. It was the year with Moyes when Moyes got fired. And he was still a part of it.
Oh, yeah, he probably was the coach.
He was the coach, and he subs himself on. It's really funny to watch a manager just be like, hey, it's time for me to get out there. I feel like you can get a better feel for the game when you're in it, but at the same time, can you really settle down and get your tactics and get your head straight when you're involved in the game? Obviously, no, because he lost his cool. So it's actually what I would call pathetic that a manager pulls himself onto the game and is the one who loses his head and gets sent off that quickly.
Yeah, and so both cards were idiotic. His second yellow was a straight red. So I don't know if either of you guys watched the video that I sent, but yeah, the second one was you guys are just so prepared, so thank you. The second one was just a straight red, and so it was just poor all around from him. Matt, what were your thoughts on this manager's behavior?
Yeah, it's funny because like if I was a man, wait, so like does he have to be on the team sheet?
I think so. Yeah, like you can't just sub you have to be on the team sheet. So he was on there.
So this is like his first game, like so he must have like planned this out. Like he must have been preparing for this. Did he have to like warm up and everything?
So I don't know. I don't know the entire backstory, but like you see this, especially with lower level clubs, and the Irish League, I don't think is the highest quality, but like you'll have a goalkeeper coach be the backup goalkeeper, or like if you don't have 18 players, like you'll just throw a player on there in the off chance somebody gets hurt or whatnot.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, if I was a manager, I would consider subbing myself on all the time. Or it's like a little semi-proactive with Will Ferrell, Jackie Moon. He's the owner, coach, and player.
Yep.
Starting forward, like asked me that this weekend. They're like, "Hey, if you won the $500 million lottery, like what would you do?" I was like, "I'd buy a soccer team and I'd be the starting striker." Like, like what else would I do?
Funny enough, so I don't know if this is still the case, but the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the owner was a player for a couple years. He was in his early 30s, or actually I think he was late 20s, early 30s. And I know up until he was like 31, 32, he was still on the roster. But the coach and he defaulted to whatever the coach said would go. But yeah, there's an example of an owner actually still playing. I don't know if that's still the case, but I know at one time it was.
Yeah. I don't blame the coach. I think it's hilarious they got the red card, but
I blame the coach. So I blame the coach for his behavior. I mean, so his first yellow card, he got into this dude's face and was like chest bumping him, and just like there was like a throw in, and it's like, dude, you're a manager, like you're behaving like an idiot, and so deserved yellow right there. And then the second one was just straight red, just horrible tackle. Matt, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I blame the manager for the red card. I was like, I don't blame him for wanting to go in the game.
Got it. Okay. Christian, anything else you want to add here?
When a manager gets sent off as a player, is he not allowed to manage the next game?
I would imagine not, but I don't know. I
I
would
know it's a
imagine
really
no.
tricky question.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Just
And
really
he
makes you
can't be on the
think, man.
bench, just like a player getting sent off. But
Yeah.
it's, really tricky. It's a tricky scenario.
Yeah. Okay. And with that, that brings us to the end of our second segment here. You're going to hear a little bit more music, and we will be back with our third segment.
We
Talk to you
will.
soon. I can't say we will. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me.
We
I'm going to go
will.
with something else. Wheel.
Wee woo,
Wheel.
wee woo,
Wheel.
wee woo.
The wheels are in motion. Okay. All right. You guys good to keep this thing rolling along? All right, Christian, I know you got to get to trivia. Welcome back, listeners, to our third and final segment. Let's talk a little Stoke City for you. Rainy night in Stoke. No more for Mark Hughes, who was finally fired after he's been terrible all season. I don't know how he made it this long, but he's been let go by Stoke City. Matt, what were your thoughts on Stoke finally letting go of Mark Hughes?
I feel like this is the right move because I feel like it's an extended period of time of for Stoke City. So I didn't think it was like a rushed decision. He had a long time, and it was even the last couple of years. They had a lot of talent. Stoke did. They have a pretty solid team. I mean, right now, I guess this is not their best of recent years, but at times they've had like teams I think are top half quality, and they just haven't really been showing it. And I think every year in our like predicted league tables, I mean they have been around there.
They've been ninth, I think, for the last 3 years. So in fairness to them, they have been top half of the table. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, but I feel like they should be like competing with a club like Everton and with the talent they had, being like challenging for maybe a 7th spot, trying to get into that top 7, or at least making it close. I feel like it just hasn't been that close for the quality they've had.
Fair enough. Christian, thoughts on Hughes being fired?
It's just time. This coaching regime that they keep going under needs to be revolutionized. We need some younger coaches, some foreign coaches to come in. Wow, I almost called him Mancini. Mark Hughes. It's like I'm just so used to these same coaches. Mark Hughes. He's struggled. He struggled this year, and there's no other way to put it. I'm not all for firing coaches, but this guy was atrocious. He did not get his tactics right ever, and the team's too good to be where they're at right now. On the verge of relegation, no. That Stoke City, a team like you said, has been in the top half for multiple years, and have they been relegated since 2009? It's been a long time since they've been in the league.
I could be wrong with this, but I believe Stoke is one of the only clubs not to have ever been relegated from the first division because this is their first run in the first division. I could be wrong with that, but I believe that's the case.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I just think Mark Hughes got it wrong this time around, and it's time for teams to move on from him. I don't think he's been good in the last couple jobs he's been in, so it's time for the Premier League to stop.
Yeah, and so this isn't the case. So I know a lot of times we're hesitant, or I'm hesitant to come down on clubs for firing managers because they haven't been given enough time. Hughes has been there for at least 4 years, if not 5, and so it's been a long time. And at this point, they're trending in the wrong direction. And Matt said they have the talent and they're just not performing. So I'm okay with this firing. I will be interested to see who they end up hiring. It's rumored, I heard Martin O'Neill on a podcast this morning is the favorite, but he's kind of a retread. I think he was at Aston Villa, if I remember correctly, before. And so, I don't know if we are going to get that fresh blood of new English managers, Christian, like you were saying, because I certainly would like to see that too. Matt, anything else you want to add?
No.
Christian?
That's a really interesting manager to bring in. But isn't Tony Pulis also available? Maybe he comes back to Stoke.
He's at Borough now. He went down to the second division at Borough.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Well, I think that's an interesting choice. He's been managing Ireland, so he's been out of the club game for a little while. But it'll be interesting to see what he can do if he comes into that Stoke role. Agreed.
So we'll be following that, and we'll be following that. So let's talk this side of the Atlantic for a little bit now. And so SoccerX, which is it's a soccer. It's like they put on net events and networking events and things like that, but they also do other soccer content. And they recently came out with a global SoccerX football finance 100 list. And what they're trying to do here is quantify clubs' financial positions, and so around the world. And so actually within this list, there were 5 MLS teams within the top 30 on this list. And so there's a lot of different factors that go into it, including squad value, land of your property value, how much the owner is worth, and all of that. But Christian, what were your thoughts on hearing about this list, hearing that MLS clubs are ranked so highly, and any other thoughts on this?
I don't really understand how an MLS club can be valued so highly in the world that we're in soccer. I just don't understand it. But I think I was reading, what was the number 2 team? It was some really bizarre team. It may have been like a Chinese Super League team. I forget who it was. But wasn't Arsenal up in the top 2 or top 3?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
so
I think that is I look at this list and I give it no credibility at all whatsoever. It just doesn't make any sense to me that with the current soccer market, yeah, they're building credibility and the league is getting better and the teams are getting better, it's just more valuable, and that's true. Right now, there's no way. There is no way. I think all 20 Premier League, La Liga teams, Bundesliga teams are more valuable than them.
Well, and so I appreciate what the list is trying to do, and I think what's unfairly or weighing heavily for MLS in a positive direction is the owner value. And so they're billionaire owners in MLS. And so that's, I think, skewing the rankings. And so to answer your question earlier, it was Guangzhou Evergrande as a Chinese club, and they were 4th. But Matt, I want to get your thoughts here before I give mine. So Matt, what were your thoughts on this list and the fact that MLS clubs seem to be ranked? I think we can all agree unnaturally or unnecessarily high.
Yeah, well, I think this list is really credible. I see Manchester City is number 1, so I think these guys know what they're talking about. But the MLS clubs, I'm not quite sure because, I know soccer is growing, but I don't even see it when it's so far behind our other sports in this country. I don't see how they're bringing in the revenue or their club value is worth in other countries are worth. So for me, it's just hard to really grasp. I know you're saying it's all these factors and owners and all that stuff, but for me, this list, seeing that club I think it was the Galaxy is top 15 ahead of Liverpool, who is one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Makes me want to punch someone in the face when I see that.
Yeah. Okay. LA Galaxy is a bigger club than Liverpool is what this list is saying. So for me, that's just hard to grasp.
Yeah. So I
says their player value is 26.
Yeah.
And they're one spot behind Barcelona that has 780.
Yeah, I know. It's absurd that they're one spot. Yeah, it's absurd. So again, I appreciate what the list is trying to do here. And again, we'll tweet out the list from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, but you can also click on it in our show notes and see that. But I appreciate what the list is trying to do. I just think that their weighting and their calculations need to be tweaked heavily because I don't think I just can't wrap my head around the New England Revolution as the 28th biggest club in the world. I just can't wrap my mind around that because that is an absurd valuation. And so again, I appreciate what the list is trying to do, but I think they need some tweaks to this model here. Guys, anything else to add, Christian?
No.
Matt?
No.
All right, let's talk about our final topic and a sad one. So Jonathan Gonzalez, 18-year-old center midfielder for Monterrey in Mexico and longtime U.S. youth national team player, reportedly has come out and will be filing a one-time switch to play for Mexico. He has dual citizenship, and in order to play for Mexico, because he has already played in official competitions for the U.S. at youth level, he needs to file that one-time switch, and he will never be able to again play for the U.S. national team. Matt, what do you make of Gonzalez filing this switch and its impact on the U.S. and or Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad to see it's decreasing the quality of our player pool, which is always hard to see. It's not saying this guy's a guaranteed national team star, but just having the deep pool and being able to see how players progress is so important. And especially for us, not really having, we have so many players, but not that many like deep quality players that could get into our national pool. It's just tough to see one that's looking very promising to go.
Christian, your thoughts here?
Sucks. It sucks a lot that we're losing a player with a lot of quality in the midfield. I know we have a bunch of young, talented center midfielders coming through the pipeline right now, and they're all over. They're in Europe. There's some in America. But this one, it hurts. It really hurts the depth of the player pool, as Matt said. And I think that in the long run, we're really – I'm sorry to bore you, man. I didn't mean to. But I think that in the long run, it's going to be fine. I don't think this is the end of the world. This is one player. We just hope that it doesn't continually happen, that we lose a lot of our players to foreign teams. We need the best Americans to be representing America, or we're going to get stuck in a cycle here that we do not want to be in, as we saw in this last World Cup cycle.
So is this a reflection of the U.S. not making the World Cup?
Yes, I think it is. I think it's heavily impacted by that.
Okay. Matt, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think not making the World Cup definitely swayed him.
Swayed?
Swayed. He's so swayed.
He's swayed.
All right. Is this Suede?
Is this Suede?
I love Suede.
Yeah. So I don't fault Gonzalez in this whole situation. I think that it was a failure in the U.S. on multiple fronts. They didn't recruit him well. And didn't keep him locked in throughout the recruiting process, and Mexico did a better job. There were reports that the U.S. didn't contact him for the November friendly, and they just went through Monterrey, and Monterrey wanted to keep him, and the U.S. just never contacted him directly. I don't think there's any way he filed the switch just because of that. I think that there were other factors at play here. Mainly the U.S. isn't going to a World Cup, whereas Mexico is. I think it sucks that the U.S. is missing out on this talented player who was Liga MX best 11 player. He's 18 years old, was one of the best 11 players in Liga MX in the first half of their season this past season, which it sucks, but I don't think it's the end of the world, Christian, like you were saying. If there's one area on the field where we actually have a decent amount of depth and youth talent coming through, it's center midfield with Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, even Kellen Acosta, who at this point is the older player, and he's 21 or 22. So, you have those players and, more coming through. I think it sucks to lose a player as talented as Jonathan Gonzalez, but, I don't fault him. And, I think that the U.S. will be okay. There's just, I think for me, I'm just so frustrated with the federation, and just for a variety of reasons that, it seems like just balls are being dropped all over the place because Sunil Gulati, the current president, is kind of outgoing and it's not being replaced. So it seems like he's kind of checked out. We don't have a national team manager right now. And, we have an interim manager, and it just seems like there's just too many things that things are starting to drop. And I'm worried about it setting us back, setting the federation and setting the men's national team back a couple of years. We have these talented players, but we better get our act together because this can't continue to happen. And so I'll be following the U.S. presidential election. I've been following it very closely, but I'll be following it even more closely. And it's happening next month. So for those of you out there, definitely want to be following that because there's huge impact on soccer in this country's future. Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Matt, anything you want to add this topic or any others?
Nope.
All right. One thing I wanted to call out. So the U.S. roster was announced today for the January camp. Mostly MLS players, which is usually the case. A couple surprises for me that were on there. I think Ian Harkes and Russell Canouse, the two DC United midfielders, I don't know if they really deserved the call-up. I know they were heavily involved in youth national teams, but I don't think they really made that much of an impact and warranted a call-up. But, props to them for getting that call-up. They were a bit of a surprise. And then Rubio Rubin, who, he was playing 18 years old for Utrecht, I believe, in the Netherlands, and, had a great career trajectory, got a couple injuries, and now is unattached. It doesn't even have a club. And so I think he was a call in, I think more for just like trying to get him seen and hopefully get him a contract. But it's sad because I think he's still only 21 or so. Yeah, Yeah, he's only 21 or so, and so hopefully he can get his act together and get things going because he was a supremely talented center forward for the U.S. Guys, any thoughts on the roster if you happen to see it?
Zach Steffen. I like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I will never forgive the Union for just letting him walk for nothing. That was poor from them. Yeah. Anything else? So with that, Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question?
Yeah, trivia question. One player since 1998 has scored a hat trick with his head in the Barclays Premier League. Do you know who that player is?
Okay, I can give my guess. So Peter Crouch would be my guess. Christian or Matt, what is your guess?
I'm either gonna go. Oh, Aguero.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who was it, Christian?
It is Solomon Rondon. He did it last year for West Brom.
All right.
I was thinking Adebayor. That was my other guess.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
any Man City player. It had to have been.
Yep. Okay. So with that, listeners, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We will tweet out all of the stories to everything we discussed from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is at BT Soccer Pod. We'll also link to all the stories in our podcast show notes, so check them out. They'll be underneath the podcast. And everything was brought to you by FanFutsal, FanFutsal.com. Go check out our FanFutsal YouTube channel and also go check out our Soccer Tavern YouTube channel, where we are making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Thank you again for being here, Christian and Matt. Thank you for being here, and we will talk to you all next week. See you, everyone. All right. There you go. That's nice, Matt. Abdul, what do you think about Liverpool buying Lamar? We got a comment on here. I just wanted to address that real quick. So is that official? I don't know. Christian, I know.
I'm sorry, what now?
That. I think it may have just been his thoughts on thinking.
Well, Monaco's boss just said they're willing to let him go in January.
Yeah, but for how much? So I don't think he's worth $90 million, which is the rumored fee that they're after.
Nope. That's stupid.
I think, like I was saying before, I don't know if you were tuning in earlier on the podcast. I think Pulisic I think Pulisic and Lamar are similar types of players, and if I'm choosing one of them, I want to choose Pulisic, and that's just not the American in me. Pulisic's younger. I think he's played at a I don't want to say a higher level because Monaco has performed really well, but I just think Pulisic has more promise and more potential. So, if they're going to spend that money, I would kind of prefer them going after him. But if they can't get Pulisic, I think Lamar is a talented player. It's going to come down to cost. And if they can get it in the 50 million range, I think he's worth it. Christian, your thoughts?
I think that is absolutely correct. I think that 90 million is far too much for him. I don't think he's a polished player. I don't think he's the finished product. And he's also not a teenager. So you need to invest correctly. And actually, winger is not what we're prioritizing right now. It's not really what we need. So I think we need a center midfielder and a striker, or to fix our back line and a goalkeeper. So pretty much anything other than the wingers right now. And I think we could use the depth there for 50 million, not 90. That is an absurd amount of money. And even at 70, it's too much.
Yeah, agreed. Matt, do you want to chime in with anything or no? You still there? No, the other Matt.
Me?
No, the other one.
Yeah, so anything on Twitter. Somebody said there's a video when Van Dijk was at Liverpool signing. There's he's on an elevator with Lamar, at Liverpool.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, okay, so I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I guess Ligue 1 is on break right now, and so it's possible that he's there for negotiations or whatnot. Are we sure that it is Lamar?
I mean, somebody said it and nobody corrected him. Yeah.
I'm sure that
it looks like him.
I'm sure that is just speculation or someone photoshopping him in. I don't believe that happened.
Yeah. All right. So with that, Abdul, let us know your thoughts. Abul, I'm sorry. I've been calling you Abdul. That's my fault. Sorry, I can't see Yeah, I know. My computer screen, the angle of the computer screen, I didn't see it fully. So that's my fault. But hopefully, you enjoyed our discussion there, and hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. So people watching on YouTube, you got a little bit of extra content from us. Hope you enjoyed it. And, we will talk to you all next week. Christian and Matt, have a good one. And I will see you next week. See you, everyone. Bye.